A Muslim man confronted a pastor with a serious question about his faith in Jesus. He quoted from the book of Mark chapter 16 and verse 18 that if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. He then gave the pastor a bottle of poison to drink before the audience to prove that the scripture is true and that he believed in God. In a stirring encounter that left hearts pounding and minds racing, his challenge rang out like a clarion call, echoing through the hallowed halls of faith and doubt alike. He challenged the pastor to prove that his faith is true by drinking the substance, so everyone can see if the scriptures are real. In that charged moment, the pastor stood at the crossroads of belief and doubt, facing a test of faith that would echo through the annals of time. The weight of the congregation's gaze bore down upon him, their collective breath held in anticipation of his response. With a steady hand and a resolute heart, the pastor raised the bottle in the air, as he embarked on a journey of explaining the scriptures before the unexpected happened.
I want to ask if you have the complete faith in Jesus Christ. And if yes, then I have one question here. According to Mark in the Bible, chapter 16 and verse 18, if they drink any deadly things, it will not hurt them. That is the same verse. And I have here a poison. And you please testify for the audience that you have the true faith in Jesus.
Thank you, sir, for your question.
My brother has given me a deadly poison and he wants me to drink it. He wants me to make a show and tell you that it is true what is written in Mark 16, that if we drink something that is poisoned, we will not die. My wife told me Thursday night, Stanley, be careful, someone will try to poison you. Now, am I going to drink this and you will see me fall down and die? Now, listen to this. I'm shaking a little bit. Excuse me. But listen now. You see, you asked me if I believe in Jesus. And I want to tell you, I believe in Jesus as it is written in the Gospels. Do you know? One day, Satan himself approached Jesus. And the devil met Jesus in the wilderness and said, throw yourself up from a high wall and make a show and try to show the people that you are the Son of God. When Jesus was standing in front of King Herod, even King Herod said to Jesus, now do some miracles for us so we can have a little fun. I'm just going to tell you that in front of Herod, Jesus did not open his mouth according to the scripture. And Jesus did not make a show of the miracles. And when you gave me this question today, I recognize the devil in you, and I'm not going to obey the devil. I'm not going to make a show.
Testing or tempting God, using scriptures such as Mark 16 and verse 18, is a dangerous act with potentially severe consequences. It reflects a lack of trust and respect for the divine order and the natural laws set in place by God. Attempting to manipulate or coerce God into proving his power or presence is not only disrespectful but also demonstrates a profound misunderstanding of faith. Challenging someone to engage in activities that could harm them, such as drinking poison, as a test of their faith, is not only reckless but also morally wrong. It undermines the sincerity and authenticity of one's beliefs, reducing them to mere acts of performance or spectacle. Faith is deeply personal and should not be subjected to external tests or validations. Furthermore, such actions can have devastating consequences, both physically and spiritually. Engaging in reckless behavior under the guise of testing one's faith can lead to injury, harm, or even death. Additionally, it can erode the foundation of trust and belief in God, leading to spiritual confusion and disillusionment. Faith should be nurtured through prayer, reflection, and a genuine relationship with God, rather than through acts of bravado or coercion. Testing or tempting God not only risks harm to oneself and others but also undermines the essence of true faith, trust, reverence, and surrender to the will of God. Furthermore, The act of testing or tempting another person's faith by challenging them to engage in dangerous activities not only disregards their autonomy and personal beliefs but also demonstrates a lack of empathy and understanding. Faith is deeply personal and unique to each individual, shaped by personal experiences, values, and convictions. Pressuring someone to prove their faith through extreme measures is coercive and manipulative, imposing one's own beliefs and standards onto another person. It disregards the complexity of faith and reduces it to a simplistic test of endurance or obedience. This not only undermines the sincerity of the individual's beliefs but also creates an environment of judgment and division within religious communities. Such actions can have long-lasting psychological effects, causing doubt, guilt, and trauma for those who feel compelled to participate in these tests. It can lead to a crisis of faith, as individuals grapple with the conflicting messages of religious duty and personal safety. Testing or tempting God and challenging others to prove their faith through dangerous means is morally wrong and spiritually harmful. True faith is built on a foundation of trust, love, and humility, not coercion or manipulation. It is essential to respect the autonomy and dignity of each individual's journey of faith and refrain from imposing arbitrary tests or standards upon them. Mark chapter 16 and verse 18 needs to be understood in its proper context. It's not meant to be taken as a literal command to handle snakes or drink poison. Testing or tempting God by deliberately putting oneself in harm's way is not in line with the intended message of faith and trust in God's protection. It's not about actively seeking out dangerous situations to test that protection. Emphasizing faith and trust in God doesn't mean deliberately exposing oneself to harm as a way to validate or prove one's belief. Instead, it's about relying on God's strength and guidance in all circumstances, while using wisdom and discernment to avoid unnecessary risks. Testing or tempting God by deliberately putting oneself in harm's way contradicts the essence of faith, which is about surrendering to God's will and trusting in His providence without the need for unnecessary demonstrations. The Muslim man's interpretation of the verse is literal and disregards the principles of interpretation, context, and the overall message of the Bible. The pastor should have emphasized more on the importance of interpreting Scripture responsibly and within its intended context. Testing someone's faith by challenging them to perform miraculous acts, such as drinking poison, is not in line with biblical principles. In the Bible, faith is often portrayed as trusting in God's character and purposes, rather than performing miraculous acts on demand. The idea of testing someone's faith through dangerous actions goes against this principle. Faith is about believing in God's promises and relying on His strength, even in the face of adversity. It's not about demonstrating power through miracles, but about surrendering to God's will and trusting in His plan. So, rather than putting faith to the test in such a way, it's more aligned with biblical principles to encourage believers to trust God's character and remain steadfast in their faith through all circumstances. Testing someone's faith through demanding miraculous acts can also undermine the essence of faith itself. It can lead to a superficial understanding of spirituality, where faith is reduced to a performance-based mentality rather than a genuine relationship with God. Moreover, such tests can potentially endanger individuals physically and spiritually. Instead, biblical teachings emphasize the importance of cultivating a deep, personal relationship with God, characterized by trust, obedience, and reliance on His guidance. This involves seeking wisdom and discernment in interpreting His will and aligning one's actions with His teachings. Faith is about humility, submission, and acknowledging our dependence on God. It's about surrendering our desires and agendas to God's wisdom and sovereignty, even when we don't understand His ways. By focusing on trusting in God's character and purposes, rather than performing miracles on demand, individuals can experience a deeper and more authentic faith journey. The encounter between the Muslim man and the pastor serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities and responsibilities inherent in matters of faith. Testing or tempting God, whether through literal interpretation of Scripture or through coercive challenges, is fraught with danger and moral ambiguity. True faith transcends mere displays of power or endurance. It resides in the depths of one's heart, rooted in trust, humility, and a genuine relationship with God. As we navigate the intricacies of belief, may we approach our faith with reverence, wisdom, and a steadfast commitment to understanding and embodying its timeless principles. Let us not seek validation through reckless acts, but rather find strength and solace in the unwavering love and guidance of God's divine presence that dwells within and among us. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I do pray that we all continue in striving to please God. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.